Hey y'all. I just be coming right on. I gotta get me an intro. Hey y'all. I want to talk right now about the activity that Trump's already been doing since he's been in office. I think he got confirmed yesterday. He busy today. So let's just get right into it because it's a lot. It's a lot. So like this channel, subscribe if you're not a subscriber so you can keep up and get notified when I go live. I'm going to be talking about things that affect our economies in our local states and cities, activities through the administration, the deregulation process, the rescinding process, the things that are going to affect monies that come to your cities and towns, and then small business consulting things and coaching and how to get your money up. Because these next 4 years is going to be about money. Your money, Trump money, they money, our money, everybody money. So let's go. Let's get with it. So first we're going to look at um, all of the why aren't my things coming up individually? My windows. We're going to look at the laws that Trump rescinded because I just think that this is very interesting. So let me see if I can share my screen and tap those tabs. Oh, it's in a different tab. Oh, I readied my computer on a different tab. Hold on a second. That's why I couldn't find them. Okay. Or I wonder if I could just pull it up on the screen that it's on. Oh yeah, we can do it like that. Okay, because that way I don't have to relook it up because I had already readied myself. Sorry, y'all. Let's see. A window. Here we go. Let's look at these first. All right. So these are the presidential actions that he put. Is this what he put into place? Or these are the things that he rescinded? No, these are the things that he put into place. So guaranteeing the state's protection against invasion. This is securing the borders per states, each individual state to secure their borders around their state. Restoring names that honor American greatness. This is interesting because what does this mean? Is this all the white supremacists that we got rid of from before? They're naming Mount McKinley from President McKinley. Alaska Native, Gulf of America, formerly known as Gulf of Mexico. This is crazy. Secretary of Interior mentioned this. So changes certain names. Let's go to the next one. To names that honor American greatness, designating cartels and other organizations as foreign terrorist organizations and especially designated global terrorists. Okay. By author invested in me. I don't. I'm not going. I'm gonna try to go through these a little bit quickly because I don't want to spend more than an hour doing this. But it's also good to understand what they're talking about. So this order creates a process by which certain international cartels and other organizations will be designated as a foreign terrorist. That's interesting. Cartels functionally controlled through a campaign of assassination, terror, rape. Okay. So that's designating cartels and other organizations as foreign. I wanted to know who the other organizations were because I was wondering if I was going to see something else on here. So they didn't name them, but it's going to be based on the definition of how they see these organizations and the others. This is where we get into the and other. That ambiguity always is where we get into some trouble. Reforming the federal hiring process and restoring merit to governmental service. Okay. Ending radical and wasteful government DEI programs and prefacing. Okay, so he got rid of that by signing an executive order to get rid of DEI programs and prefacing what? Department of Office of Budget Management and Budget. He shall coordinate the termination of all discriminatory programs, including illegal DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and accessibility. So now it is criminal to make sure that we have laws on the book that identify diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. He deemed it criminal, illegal discriminatory programs. Oh Jesus. Each agency commissions federal contractors who have provided DEI training. So cease and it's probably us to stop. Orders nearly every federal agency and entity submitted equity action plans to detail the ways that they have furthered DEI infiltration of the federal government. So not only are they going to get rid of it, but they want every federal agency to submit the plans that detail the ways that they furthered the DEI initiatives that they created. The public release of these plans demonstrated immense public waste and shameful discrimination that ends today. It's the tone. Do you hear the tone of how like these executive orders are written? They're so nastily written. It's just nasty work. And it's almost saying like this is just nasty work. We're gonna get rid of the DEI because it was just nasty work. Like really? Jeez, oh Pete. Or under whatever name they appear, mandates policies, programs, purposes, and activities in the federal government under whatever name they appear based on diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. How can you be mad at accessibility? How can you be mad at inclusion? All those are such positive words. And it's just the tone in this which this is written. I don't even know how people function in such anger. Like it's just people that function in anger like this, they are always to me got bad skin, bad breath, bad body built. Anyways, let me go on. Defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoring biological truth to the federal government. When did the federal government need biological truth? What? Okay. Purpose across the country, ideologies, whatever. I don't know what that GUIs who deny the biological reality of sex, who deny the biological reality of sex have increasingly used legal and other socially coercive means to permit men to self-identify as women. Use legal and other socially coercive. Men don't want to identify as women if they don't feel that they are internally identifying as women. It's not like men just choose to do this. From women's domestic abuse shelters to women's workplace. I work with the no, that's not true. I work with the domestic abuse shelters. We do not have a problem with men infiltrating domestic abuse shelters as women because their gender they identify as female. That's not true. The erasure of sex and language and policy has corrosive impact not just on women but the validity of the entire American system. Basing federal policy on truth is critical to scientific inquiry. You want to throw science in here? I'm sorry, but this coming from somebody that don't even believe in science. From the science of COVID to the science of the environment to the science of everything. Like it's crazy to me how people use things when it benefits them and when it don't benefit them. I don't do that. The unhealthy road is. Anyways, we know where this is going, but we'll defend women's rights and protect freedom of conscience by using clear and accurate language and policies that recognize women are biologically female and men are biologically male. Gender is assigned. Gender is assigned because it's not always biologically straightforward female male. That's not true. So the executive branch will enforce all sex protective laws to promote this reality. Why is governing how people identify important to you? You got so many other things to worry about. Like pay people a fair wage. Like get out of people's houses. I really don't feel like the reason the law was in place is so people leave people alone. It's none of your business how people identify. For real. It's just not. This is crazy. This needed to be done day one. The Secretaries of State and Homeland Security and the Director of Office and Personnel Management shall implement changes to require that government-issued identification documents, including passports, visas, global entry cards, accurately reflect the holder's sex as defined under Section 2. Really? So these people are going to have to get new documents. Each agency should therefore give the term sex male, female, men, women, boys, girls, the meaning set forth in the section of 2 for when playing. These kind of things to me is irritating because it's not none of your business how people identify. And to be a bully, to boss people on how to identify when they ain't got nothing to do with you, it's just being a bully. You're not defending women. We didn't have a problem with how other people identified. You're not defending me. Who are these women? Establishing and implementing the president's Department of Government Efficiency. Doge! Elon! So they done set up a new department, the Department of Government Efficiency, or Doge. I'm not reading that. Okay. America First Policy Directive to the State Secretary of State. America First, by authority vested in me, purpose from this day forward, the foreign policy of the United States shall champion core American interests and always put American and American citizens first. As soon as practicable, the Secretary of State shall issue guidance bringing the Department of State's policies, programs, personnel in line with American first. So the reason I read through all these things, again, like I was talking to you earlier, if you're here from me from earlier, or if you see this later or whenever, is because the work that I do as a consultant with my consultancy business, I do community economic development. And that means I work with cities and states. I work with local government. I work with local agencies, housing agency, small SBA, small business organizations and things like that. So to read through the things that they're changing and the policies they're putting in place or executive orders and the ones that they're rescinding affect where the money goes, and where the money goes affects how I get paid, because that means where is the monies that are going to pay me to do the work that I do, right? So protecting the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats. Okay, unleashing Alaska's extraordinary resource potential. I thought that was Alaska holds an abundant and largely untapped supply of natural resources, including, among others, energy, mineral, timber, and seafood. Unlocking this bounty of natural wealth will raise the prosperity of our citizens while helping to enhance the nation's economic and national security for generations to come. I wonder how Alaska and the people of Alaska feel about that, because when they get to prioritize the development of Alaska's liquefied natural gas potential, including the sale and transfer. They're going to start, is it fracking? They're going to start fracking up there. I think there was an environmental reason why they hadn't yet. This has nothing to do with rescind the cancellation of any leases within the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge other than such lease cancellations as the Secretary of Interior determines are consistent with the policy interests described in Section 2. Withdraw Secretary order. Well, this is removing a lot of stuff. They want to go up there and get that. Oh, they want to go up there and get that. Oh, well, who's going to get that contract? Oh, he was busy. Protect the American people against invasion. That's an executive order. How? See, and this is a thing that I have a problem with. When I see things like this, I feel like it gives people a false sense of security. Yes, Trump is in office. He's going to protect the American people against invasion. Just like we saw with those fires in California. You can't protect against national disasters. You can't protect against the force of karma or whatever going to happen. We are a people. As a people, we are not undefeatable. And when we start to take a stance, like we can protect people against anything that happen, you setting yourself up. You setting yourself up for something. You setting yourself up for something. Protecting the American people against invasion. And then immigrants are not people that invade the country. Millions of illegal aliens crossed our borders or were permitted to fly directly into the United States on commercial flights. Then they're not, if they, and allowed to settle in American communities. So I promised myself these next 4 years, I'm not going to allow this energy to infiltrate my energy. So Trump and his entire administration is blocked on everything. I get updates and I get information sent to me. But even just reading the information, it's like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Enforcing our nation's immigration law. When Trump is an immigrant, everybody here is an immigrant. I just feel like it's like the pot calling the kettle black. Like, how you gonna stop immigrants from coming here? The reason they probably don't want immigrants to come here is because they know what they did as an immigrant when they came here and they took over. They don't want to be defeated. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development Global Tax Deal. Okay, this is sound like some of the stuff I work in. What we got going? The permanent representative of the United States to the organization, the United States Trade Representative, Secretary of the Treasurer, the OECD, another acronym, Global Tax Deal, supported under prior administration, not only allows extraterritorial jurisdiction over American income, but also limits our nation's ability to enact policies. Oh, are we still under the ones that he rescinded? Oh, I thought this was a new one. This memorandum recaptures our nation's sovereignty and economic competitiveness by clarifying that the global tax deal has no force or effect in the United States. Applicability of the global tax deal, the Secretary of the Treasurer and the permanent representative of the United States shall notify the OECD that any commitments made by the prior administration on behalf of the United States with respect to the global tax deal have no force or effect within the United States absent an act by Congress adopting the relevant provisions of the global tax deal. The Secretary of Treasury of the United States Trade Rate. Okay, I gotta wait and see what happens. See, and that's the other thing when they go in and do these executive orders, you have to wait for policy guidance. Like you have to wait for the scope of work, for the definition, for how is this going to function, who's going to manage it, who's going to oversee it, what are the, who's got governance over it. So, anyways, so we'll see what happens with that when they take it away. These are the recension. These are Organization of National Security Council and subcommittees. Got that. Reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid. Of course, they don't want to send no money to Ukraine. Um, let me see. Where were the rest of them? Anyways, um, the United States foreign aid industry and bureaucracy are not aligned with American interests and, in many cases, anti-ethical to American values. They serve to destabilize world peace by promoting ideas to foreign countries that are directly inverse to harmonious and stable relations internal and reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid. Reviews the United States foreign assistance programs, determinations. The responsible department and agency head and consultancy with the OMB make determination. Resumption of paused development assisted funding. New obligations and disbursement of foreign development assistance funds may resume for a program prior to the end of the 90-day period. We need to have foreign relations in order to be safe as a country. So we'll see where they're going to cut funds. Organization of the National Security Council of subcommittees. By authority vested in me as president, I hereby direct the following. The national and homeland security threats facing America are complex and rapidly evolving. These issues often do not fit neatly into categories. The United States decision-making structures and processes address national security challenges. They must be able to competently design and execute cooperative and integrated interagency solutions to address these problems. Therefore, function and responsibilities and chairs. The National Security Act of 1947 as amended established. The president will respect the integration of domestic, foreign, and military policies related to national security. The president will chair. When the president is absent from the meeting and council, he may appoint a cabinet leader. The national security advisor shall be responsible as appropriate and at the president's direction. Okay. Well, we gave them the codes to nuclear bombs, so reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid, temporary withdrawal of all areas on the outer continental shelf from offshore wind leasing, and review the federal government's leasing and permitting practices for wind projects. That's self-explanatory. Declaring a national energy emergency. You're declaring a national energy emergency? And critical identification, leasing, development. We need reliable, diversified. Oh, they're about to get to digging, fracking, drilling, pulling. Oh, they're about to get everything. This active threat to the American people from high energy prices is exacerbated by our nation's diminished capacity to insulate itself from hostile foreign actors. Energy security is increasingly crucial. That's why we were trying to go with clean energy. He did this before, yo. When he was in office before, he wanted to take everybody back to coal production. He takes us back in time on so many things. Without immediate remedy, this situation will dramatically deteriorate in the near future due to a high demand for energy and natural resources to power the next generation of technology. Shall consider issuing emergency fuel waivers to allow the year-round sale of E15 gasoline to meet any projected temporary shortfalls, expediting the delivery of energy infrastructure, emergency approvals ahead. They want to go get them resources. I just hope that they have somebody that lets them know if there's going to be any damage to the environment. Restoring accountability for career seniors. What? Ensure that executive power to remove subordinates is core part of the executive power. Because SES officials wield significant governmental authority, they must serve at the pleasure of the president. Only that chain of responsibility ensures. Wait, what? Is responsible and need to have enormous influence over the functioning of the federal government and thus the well-being of hundreds of millions of Americans. As the Constitution makes clear, and the Supreme Court of the United States has reaffirmed, the executive power, all of it, is vested in a president who must take care that the laws be faithfully executed. Because no single person could fulfill that responsibility alone, the framers expected that the president will rely on subordinate officers for assistance. The president's power to remove subordinates is a core part of executive power vested by Article 2 of the Constitution, necessary for the president to perform his duty. Because SES officials wield significant governmental authority, they must serve at the pleasure of the president. Memorandum for the heads of the executive department restoring accountability for career senior executives. Within 30 days of signing, the director of the auditor and coordinator shall issue SES performance plans that agencies must adopt. Agency heads who, along with their senior staff manager, career officials, one of their courts, shall use the available authority to reinvigorate. Each agency shall have, as necessary, an appropriate and consistent procedural requirement. Each agency head should terminate its existing executive resource board, institute a new or interim, and assign non-senior career officials, senior non-career officials. An agency who becomes aware of an SES official whose performance or continued occupancy of the position consistent with either the principles reaffirmed in this order or their duties shall immediately take all appropriate actions up to and include removal of that. He's getting rid of all the senior executives. Yep. Let's go. Promoting beautiful federal civic architecture. Okay, I'm not reading it. Restoring the death penalty. Self-explanatory. Sucks. Putting people over fish. Stopping radical environmentalism to provide water to Southern California. Oh, of the Interior. I hereby direct the Secretary of Commerce and Secretary of the Interior and other agencies to route more water from the Sacramento, San Joaquin Delta to other parts of the state for use by the people there who so desperately need reliable water. Oh, he don't care about preserving national marine fisheries. He don't care about nothing. So, okay. He did all this. Securing our borders. Okay. Protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship. What? All persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject to jurisdiction. The provision rightly repudiated Supreme Court of the United States shameful decision, which misinterpreted the Constitution as permanently excluding people of African descent from eligibility for United States citizenship solely based on their race. That misinterpreted the Constitution as permanently excluding people of African descent from eligibility for United States citizenship solely based on their race. But the 14th Amendment has never been interpreted to extend citizenship universally to everyone born within the United States. The 14th Amendment has always excluded from birthright citizenship persons who were born in the United States but not subject of the jurisdiction thereof. Consistent with this understanding, Congress has further specified through legislation that a person born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof is a national and citizen of the United States. Okay. Among the categories of individuals born in the United States and not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. This outlines all of that. Why? What's that got to do with black folks? Privilege says a priceless and profound gift. The 14th Amendment states all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. The provision rightly repudiated the Supreme Court of the United States' shameful decision of Dred Scott versus Stanford, which misinterpreted the Constitution as permanently excluding people of African descent. Okay. Unleashing American energy. Yeah, we know what that is. Clarifying the military's role in protecting the territorial integrity. Okay. America's first trade policy memorandum to resolve the backlog of security clearances for executive office of the president personnel. Declaring a national emergency at the southern border of the United States. Okay. Holding former government officials accountable for election interference and improper disclosure of sensitive government. What? In the federal what? So what is this going to do? To remedy these abuses of the public trust, this order directs the revocation of any active or current security clearances held by former intelligence officials who engaged in the misleading and inappropriate political coordination with the 2020 Biden presidential campaign and John Bolton. I don't know who that is. He coming for, here they go. Shall revoke any current or active clearances held by the following: James Clapper, Michael Hayden, Leon Panetta, John Brennan, C. Fengar. I'm looking for, what's that guy? Rodney Snyder. Well, dang, that's a lot of people. All right. Restoring accountability to policy influencing positions within the federal workforce. Withdrawing the United States from the World Health Organization again. Okay. Application of Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act to TikTok. What? Section Act prohibits entities from Okay. I can't even believe TikTok has made it to an executive order. This is just so crazy. It's a freaking application. Out of all the apps, when you go to the App Store, it's so many things. It's so many things to go and download. Granting pardons and commutation of sentences for certain offenses relating to the events at or near United States Capitol on January 6th. Granting pardons. Yeah, he pardoned 1,500 people. Grant a full, complete, and unconditional pardon to all other individuals convicted of offenses related to events that occurred at or near the United States Capitol on January 6th. I think when they said it was 1,500 people. Commute the sentences of the following individuals convicted of offenses related to the events that occurred at or near the United States Capitol on January 6th. Stuart Rose, Kelly Meggs, Kenneth Harrelson, Tom Caldwell, Jessica Watkins, Roberto Minuta, Edward Vajelo, David Morrell Shell, Joseph Hackett, Ethan Norton, Joseph Biggs, and then grant full pardons to the others. And I think it was up to 1,500 folks. Okay. Putting America first in international environment agreements, delivering emergency price relief for American families, and defeating. How do you deliver emergency price relief for American families? Over the past 4 years, the Biden administration's destructive policies inflicted on historic inflation crisis of the American people. Why is the Biden administration so mentioned in your executive order? Just what you plan on doing? What? Hardworking families today are overwhelmed by the cost of fuel. Pay them $30 an hour. Get rid of minimum wage. It cracks me up how we keep seeing things about how hardworking families cannot afford to live. I don't see nothing in here about saying minimum wage should be $30 an hour. In some unprecedented regulatory oppression from the Biden administration is estimated to have imposed almost $50,000 in costs on the average American household, whereas in my first term, agenda reduced regulatory costs by almost $11,000 per household. It is critical to restore purchasing power to the American family and improve our quality of life. If you are saying that Biden cost American families 50 grand, and you're saying your first term, you save people 11 grand, how they going to afford that other 38 grand, 39 grand? It's still costs that we are not attributing to minimum wage, because $7.25 an hour is $15,000 a year. So I don't care if you did save people 11 grand, which ain't no money. Let's be clear. That ain't even $1,000 a month. I don't care about $11,000. I really don't. You could do better than that. Big and bad as you talk. Big and bad as you talk, you could do better than $11,000 a year. So this is just a bunch of malarkey, delivering emergency price release for American families. So you're going to send people what? I hereby order the heads of all executive departments and agencies to deliver emergency price relief consistent with applicable law to the American people and increase the prosperity of the American worker. This is for all them boondacoons that said, I like that $1,200 we got when President Trump was in office before. Okay, well, he going to shut y'all up again with a little bit of money that you can't build a life on. He not making college free. He's not getting rid of student loan debt. He's not giving you free health care. He's not taking away your monthly bills. He's not saying the utility companies need to cut their costs and stop charging us so much and stop charging us all these extra taxes on top of the cost of energy. He's not saying none of that. He's saying he's going to give y'all $11,000. Hiring freeze. What? Then he going to hereby order a freeze on the hiring of federal civilian employees to be applied throughout the executive branch. As part of this freeze, no federal civilian position that is vacant at noon on January 20th, 2025 may be filled, and no new position may be created except as otherwise provided for in this memorandum. He did this before. He did not fill a lot of open employment spots in the government, in the federal agencies. And when I say, because he didn't hire people to do the jobs, some people quit with the old administration. Some people they fired after the old administration. And this federal civilian employee freeze or whatever, when he doesn't hire people to manage the government, to do the jobs, to work in the positions, the government fails us by not being efficient and not being able to do the work that it's set up to do. So, it's just something I learned from the last time he was in there. Return to in-person work, not me, ending the weaponization of the federal government. That's what? The prior administration and allies throughout the country engaged in an unprecedented third world weaponization of prosecutorial power to upend the democratic process and targeted individuals who voiced opposition to the prior administration's policy. The Department of Justice even jailed an individual for posting a political meme. And while the Department of Justice has ruthlessly prosecuted more than 1,500 individuals associated with January 6th, he pardoned 1,500 people and simultaneously dropped nearly all cases against BLM rioters. Black Lives Matter were not rioters. My daughter was in college at the time, graduating, and she also was a protester about Black Lives Matter. These were educated young people. These were peaceful protesters. They didn't do any of the damage that they keep claiming that they did. Not one city has come forward and said, Black Lives Matter burned down our city. Not one mayor, not one state. All they do is scream, Black Lives Matter burned down all the cities. Where? Because we've been watching the fires in California, so when fires happen, we see it. Detroit didn't get burnt down. Chicago didn't get burnt down. Raleigh didn't get burnt down. New York didn't get burnt down. Philly didn't get burnt down. Where they burn it down? restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship. All right, we're going to see. In initial recessions of harmful executive orders and actions. To commence the policies that will make our nation united, fair, safe, prosperous again. It is the policy of the United States to restore common sense to the federal government and unleash the potential of the American citizen. The revocations within this order will be the first of many steps. Revocation of orders and actions. These are all the executive orders that this to me is crazy. Can y'all see this, or am I on the wrong page? Wait, let me see if I'm on the right page with y'all. The White House. Yes. To me, this is crazy. To me, because a lot of the stuff that he is revoking, it's just listen. He wants to revoke executive order 13985, advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities to the federal government. He wants to get rid of that. He don't want racial equity and support for underserved communities. They don't need that. Don't need it. Underserved communities, they don't need no support, no racial equity. Want to get rid of Executive Order 13986 that ensures a lawful and accurate enumeration and apportionment pursuant to the decennial census. Ensuring a lawful and accurate enumeration and appropriate pursuant to the decennial census. I need to see what this is, because the last time we had to take the census, he's not going to be in office for census this time. He jacked that up so bad. A lot of people didn't fill out the census, and we did not get an accurate count. I want to see what that is. I need to go over here, and I want to look at that later. I want to see what that's about. These are the things that he's rescinding. Organizing and mobilizing the United States government to provide a unified and effective response to combat COVID-19. That executive order went into place when Biden got into office. Why are we even worried about it right now? Preventing and combating discrimination on the basis of gender identity and sexual orientation. They don't want to do that. They're rescinding it. They want to rescind the ethics committee. They want to rescind protecting public health and the environment and restoring science to tackle climate crisis. He's rescinding that. Don't believe in it, don't care about it, don't want it. He's rescinding the revocation of certain executive orders concerning federal regulation. See, this is what I hate about our politics. Biden got in and rescinded his executive orders concerning federal regulation. Trump gets back in office and rescinds the rescission. It's almost like preschoolers. It's like, ugh. So, yeah. Executive Order 13993, he wants to rescind the revision of the civil immigration enforcement policies. He wants to rescind ensuring an equitable pandemic response recovery. The problem was he didn't have a pandemic response and recovery process. So now he's going to rescind the order to have one again. He wants to rescind the COVID-19 pandemic testing board and ensuring everything I see in here about COVID-19 is so crazy to me, because the pandemic hit in 2021. We have not had a pandemic since he was in office. If he rescinds all of the processes and systems and protections that were put in place to help people stay safe and healthy and away from COVID-19, and now what if people start getting sick again? Because understand, COVID is still out here. It's just a different strand. He wants to rescind protecting worker health and safety. He wants to rescind supporting the reopening and continuing operations of schools and early child. So Biden said, let's reopen and continue operations of schools and early childhood. He's saying, I want to rescind that. I want to rescind the economic relief related to COVID-19 pandemic. I want to rescind protecting the federal workforce. I want to rescind enabling all qualified Americans to serve their country in uniform. So this one went into effect in 2021, an executive order to enable all qualified Americans to serve their country in uniform. He's rescinded it, probably because now he's going to be so gender specific, he doesn't want any ambiguity in there. He's rescinding reform our incarceration system to eliminate the use of privately operated criminal detention facilities. He wants to rescind the reforming of incarceration systems. And this order also eliminated the use of privately operated criminal detention facilities. I remember when Trump was in office before, he put a lot of money out there for multiple states to get money to build prisons. Biden stopped that and stopped the funding of it and stopped the reforming of the incarceration system. Biden stopped that, and he's rescinding the order that stopped the order to build criminal detention facilities. And we're gonna have jails going back up. They about to be low. They about to be rallying people up and putting them in jail. That say criminal detention facilities. He wants to rescind the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. But in his order, science is so important. But now he wants to rescind tackling the climate crisis at home and abroad. He wants to rescind strengthening the Medicaid and Affordable Care Act. He wants to rescind, of course, millions and millions of people are on the Affordable Care Act. I think I just went through as a small business owner, and as a small business owner, I have to buy my health insurance. I have to go through the marketplace through the Affordable Care Act. That's how I got my insurance. If we don't go through that to get our insurance can be double to triple the monthly premium and the what's the premium called that you have to pay before you even get any health care. Like healthcare was very, very much expensive, very much so expensive before the Affordable Care Act. This is a mistake, but they don't care because they're not going to put anything else in place. He wants to rescind creating a comprehensive regional framework to address the causes of migration, to manage migration throughout North and Central America, and to provide safe and orderly processing of asylum seekers. He don't want to do that. He wants to rescind establishing an interagency task force for the reunification of families. Anything that says reunification of families, why mess with it? Like, it's just he on demon time. But, restoring our faith in our legal immigration system is true. He wants to rescind that. He wants to rescind rebuilding and enhancing programs to resettle refugees. Rescind that. He wants to rescind establishment of the White House Office of Faith-Based Neighborhood Partnerships. Whoa, that's going to affect things that I do. See, he's rescinding that. He wants to rescind the revocation of certain presidential actions. He wants to rescind promoting access to voting. He wants to rescind the establishment of the White House Gender Policy Council. He wants to rescind guaranteeing an educational environment free from discrimination on the basis of sex, including sexual orientation or gender identity. He wants to rescind termination of emergency with respect to the International Criminal Court. So Biden signed an executive order for the termination of emergency with respect to the International Criminal Court. He wants to rescind that. He wants to rescind establishment of the Presidential Commission on the Supreme Court of the United States. Okay, so the President Biden had a commission that probably had oversight or some monitoring of the Supreme Court, and he wants to get rid of them. He wants to rescind the establishment of Climate Change Support Office. He wants to rescind the revocation of certain presidential actions and technical amendment, climate-related financial risk. Rescind. Oh, that's going to affect so many people that just got jobs in the environmental industry. He wants to rescind advancing equity, justice, and opportunity for Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. Why? Whoa. Did y'all know that? Y'all been on the census forever. Y'all been here forever. We have y'all territories forever. Like y'all, like what? Like this don't even have nothing to do with the newer immigration policies. Why would he want to rescind advancing equity and justice and opportunities for Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders? That's nasty. Oh, Trump, you're doing nasty work. Well, it's just nasty. I mean, as a Black person, we're losing everything as well. But I guess I just feel so different when I see Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. I mean, I feel bad for them, I guess, but I feel bad for me too. But I feel bad. Like, I don't know. That's not nice. What they do for you? I'm used to being discriminated against, but I didn't know they would get it too. He like everybody can catch it. Everybody can catch it. Oh my God. He rescinding diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in the he like everybody getting a piece. Women, y'all men that don't know y'all real gender, Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders, black folks that came from Africa, black folks that didn't. Jesus. Strengthening American leadership and clean cars and trucks. What? I ain't got time. Amending Executive Order 1407. I have to go read it. White House initiative. He wants to rescind the Advancing Educational Equity, Excellence, and Economic. Oh, here go the Hispanics. Oh my gosh. He wants to rescind the White House initiative on advancing educational equity, excellence, opportunity, Native Americans. He's just taking everybody. Oh, here we go. He wants to rescind the White House initiative on advancing education. He like, pop, pop, pop. Last shot. You better walk around like Daft Punk. Remember, we better be walking around with helmets on our head. So this is the same thing that he got it for Black Americans, Native Americans, Hispanics, Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. So everybody but white folks. White House initiative on advancing. Let's see. He wants to rescind all of those. So he's rescinded them. He did that the first day. He wants to rescind the implementation of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. That's going to affect me. He wants to rescind the non-displacement of qualified workers under service contracts. Non-displacement of qualified workers under service contracts. He wants to rescind that. The non-displacement. So qualified workers. Oh, that's my industry. Okay. He wants to rescind catalyzing clean energy industries. He wants to rescind establishing the United States Council on Transnational Organized Crime. So Biden put it into place to establish the United States. We have a council on transnational organized crime. He want to get rid of that. Okay. I had to drink me some tea. I'm getting a little parched. He wants to rescind the advancing economy, efficiency, and effectiveness in federal contracting by promoting pay equity and transparency. Yeah, y'all not gonna see no increases in wages. He's getting rid of all these protections. He wants to rescind advancing effective, accountable policing and criminal justice practices to enhance public trust and public safety. So he want to get rid of that. Because we were going to restorative practices, reform practices for around public safety, law and order, and there was work being done to enhance the public's trust in public safety officers. Nope, he said, nope, get rid of that. We need y'all to be afraid. He wants to rescind advancing equality for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex individuals. So he don't want to advance their equality. He wants to get rid of and rescind the implementation of the energy and infrastructure provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act. Implementation of the energy and infrastructure provisions, okay, of the Inflation Reduction Act. Promoting the arts. He wants to rescind promoting the arts and humanities in my. Oh, I swear, I'm so glad my kids are not in school. If I had a child that was of school age, they would be in homeschool. They would be in homeschool because this is crazy. This is crazy to me. Promoting the art, lowering prescription drug. He wants to rescind that. He wants to rescind lowering prescription drug costs for Americans. He already rescinded. These are the things he rescinded. This is craziness. He rescinded establishing the President's Advisory Council on the African Diaspora Engagement. We are enjoying meeting our diaspora family. It has been so successful. It has been a great thing to find out where we from. who we look like, meeting the diaspora, having that engagement, and you want to get rid of that. He got rid of it. He wants to rescind further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. So that's going to affect the work that I do. He rescinded that. He's going to rescind the withdrawal of certain areas off the United States Arctic coast, modernization of regulatory review. That affects me. He's going to get rid of that. So that's done. The modernization that we had in some of the regulatory reform, he's getting rid of it. He wants to rescind revitalizing our nation's commitment to environmental justice for all. Oh, this one. He wants to rescind moving beyond COVID-19 vaccination. He wants to rescind safe, secure, and trustworthy development of the use of artificial intelligence. He wants to rescind imposing certain sanctions on persons undermining peace, security, and the stability in the West Bank. Doesn't that sound like a good thing, to impose certain sanctions on persons that undermine peace, security, and stability? He wants to get rid of that. He wants to rescind the White House initiative on advancing educational equity, excellence, and economic opportunity through Hispanic serving institutions. He got rid of it. He wants to rescind providing an order of succession within the Department of Agriculture. Got rid of it. Same thing for the Department of Homeland Security. The order of succession. He rescinded the order of succession. That he rescinded everything Biden just put into place. Well, all of the order of successions for all of the departments: Department of Justice, Department of Treasury, Department of the Office of the Management and Budget, Department of National Cyber Director, Department of Council Quality to act as the chairman. He wants to rescind the presidential memorandums that designated officials of the Council on Environmental Quality, designated of officials on the Office of Personal Management to act as director, designation of officials of the Office of Science and Technology. He wants to rescind the designation of officials of the United States Agency of Global Media. He wants to rescind the officials. He got rid of everything Biden just put into place. He's going to rescind the Finance Corporation to act as chief executive officer. He's withdrawing a certain area of the United States outer continental shelf from oil and natural gas leaking. He got rid of it. He's withdrawing of certain areas of the United States outer continental shelf. Okay, that's a repeat. He's withdrawing the certificate of rescission to Cuba's designation as a state sponsor of terrorism. So, certification of rescission. We rescinded the fact that we believe Cuba's designation as a state sponsor of terrorism exists. He's rescinding that rescission to put him back as a state sponsor of terrorism. He's rescinding the revocation of national security presidential memorandum. Biden was working all the way up to January 16th. He's rescinding providing the appointment of the alumni of AmeriCorps to the competitive service. Oh, jeez. So these are all the things. Nothing in this order shall be construed and impaired. So that's all the things that he's rescinded. Now let me see if that changes the screen. That did not change the screen. So let me see if I go back. So these are all the things Trump did day 1 and 2. Yeah. That's what I wanted to do this day, was look at all those things. Let me know what you think. I'm going to read through a few of them in a little bit more detail. I marked a few of them that I got to go research. When you hear these things and you see the different departments, think about, especially I'm a self-employed, I'm a consultant. I work with government, local, state, city government. When you hear these things and you see that it can impact the monies that are given to your state for their state budget to support initiatives that have now been rescinded, think about your work. Think about how you're going to fund yourself. Think about the moves you need to make and how you need to diversify your business, because monies were plentiful under Biden. I cannot deny that Biden put billions of dollars out here for small businesses to be successful. So now we're seeing that a lot of things are changing around community development, economic development, the monies that are going to be there for a lot of different programming. DEI was huge programming. People built businesses off of teaching DEI and doing consulting work around DEI, racial equity, reform around public safety, law and order, and the police, and restorative practices, early childhood development. All the things that he's rescinding are jobs. Understand that, because when you rescind it, you don't have to pay for it, and you don't have to get the state budgetary money for it. What we have to see moving forward, is there going to be other alternatives within his new agenda once he gets in. The first 2 days were the executive orders he put into place, letting pardoning all of the January 6 people and rescinding almost all the executive orders Biden put into place. Now we need to see what is he going to put into place to make sure people can be successful, communities can be safe, the environment is protected, minerals and things are protected. People can get jobs. He took away arts and health and all those things from schools. What is he going to put back into place? So we just got to wait and see. But I wanted to go through all those. I know this was a long one. I hope you get through it with me. It's very important information. This is the kind of stuff I always talk about that we need to pay attention to as residents in this country. For me, also as a small business owner and a coach, and as a former banker, this is what I always read through. So I'll talk to y'all later. My name is Lisa Davis. If you got questions, put them in the comment area. I hope you made it through the whole thing. And I'll see y'all at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Bye.